We have to learn to let go and allow life to happen through us without any judgments, without any preconceived notions, just allowing life to be what it is.
We're finding who we are. We choose between the left and right, the ups and downs, the darkness or the light. We're finding who we are.
There's only one reform in life. When you and I stop living from our heads, you and I are here for one very solid reason, and that is to learn to be loving.
We're finding our way together, just you and me.
Namaste. Question, what do you do when you feel something you don't understand? And you really do want to understand it. We're in India, and we want to share something with you real special. Come aspire with us.
Until we finally sing, 'cause when we seek, we find the answers. Life's a dance, and we're all dancers. Aspire, and just believe we can be everything. Aspire.
Ahmedabad, with a population of 3 million, is Gujarat's largest industrial city, producing about 1/3 of India's total textiles.
There's 6 hours, 5.5 meters.
It is also the site of Mahatma Gandhi's ashram, and from here he launched his famous march in protest to the British salt tax. On the winter solstice, Ahmedabad takes a holiday as the citizens fly kites from rooftops celebrating the return of the sun to its northward track.
Probably the greatest sin that a person can commit, and it's really a personal temptation that we all face at one time or another in our life, is not the sin of the bad things that we're supposed to be doing or have done in our life according to religion, but it's the sin of not changing, of staying in mediocrity and not moving within ourselves. And if there is one thing that you get from coming to India, you get the feeling of the people who can stay with the flow of life and not seek the idea of trying to stay the same, but to flow with life. It's amazing when you come here and you meet these people. There is a genuineness about them that we in the West have certainly lost. We're funny kind of people. We think that, when things aren't moving the way we want them to, when things aren't happening the way they should, when we're not keeping up with the Joneses, that something is wrong and that we need a change. The changes that we make are always very petty, always superficial. I've watched it in my life. Some part of my life gets comfortable, I start to get bored with it, and I think I gotta make a change in it. But the change I've noticed is always superficial. When you come to spirituality, when you're seeking to understand the nature of spirituality, you begin to understand that any change you and I make in the outer goes right back to sameness. We tried to look for a way in which to share with you the whole idea of what spirituality is. That's the first thing I wanted to share with you on Aspire in this series. What does it mean to be spiritual? Does it mean that you know all the answers, that you've read all the Eastern books or the Western books? Does it mean that you wear a certain kind of clothes or act in a certain kind of way? Is a spiritual person always perfect? When you come to India, you begin to realize that the changes that we tried to make on the outside have nothing at all to do with the changes that need to happen and to occur on the inside. And you begin to find that spirituality is in the eyes of people who can accept their life as it is, who can play with their life as it is, and do not take it personally, but find some sort of deep significance in their life. They're finding a sense of sacredness. Sacredness is not something that is taught in the West. It's not honored because it requires a sense of spirituality in it. So spirituality depends upon one word and one word only. It's more than a word, it's an approach, it's an attitude towards our life. Actually, it is the deepest form of prayer towards our life we can have. It's called sacred. And what does that word mean, sacred? There are so many things in our life that go on that are so deeply sacred. But because we are so busy trying to find out what is important about our life, we miss the things that are sacred. In the West, we are looking for importance. We're trying to find some philosophy or some idealism that makes our life important or makes us assume that we are important. And in doing so, we have lost sacredness. The Indian people, through their eyes, through their attitude, through the beauty of their soul, have shown me that sacredness is acceptance of life, just as it is, without wanting to change it. And I know this blows the whole theory of self-importance and improvement, but please listen to me before you turn me off. It is not important what others think of you. It is not important whether or not you get better in your life, or I get better in my life, or I get perfect or you get perfect, because spirituality is not about perfection. It's about acceptance. Acceptance of weak human frailties, acceptance which brings in compassion and understanding. It is the form that brings about deep spirituality, because God is the most compassionate being that ever lived, and we are to be as perfect as God, so the Master said. Then it is our duty, our right, our privilege for us to practice a sense of sacredness, that everything is important. It's not about betterism, it's not about rightism, it's about accepting things, loving things, and understanding them as they are without trying to change them. In doing that, we have changed ourselves.
Near Mount Abu lie the Dole temples. Constructed some 950 years ago by the Jains, their exteriors are deceptively plain so as not to attract the attention of raiders. Inside, they display exquisite architecture featuring deeply carved stonework of unrivaled quality. Some of the carving is so delicate that the marble is in fact translucent. The stone carvers were paid silver and gold in weight equal to that of their marble filings. Clearly, money was not the sole motivating factor, because at the completion of their work, the carvers pooled their savings and built this temple out of their own deep love and devotion.
So we all have this idea that spirituality means that we are perfect people. So we often think that coming to India means that we'll find this perfect master, this perfect guru, and he will sit there and tell us exactly what it is that we need to know about life. And all they're really telling us is the very simple things about accepting ourselves, accepting our frailties, accepting our life. How much of your life and mine have we sacrificed to get those things that we thought were more important than being sacred? For example, we lived and we struggled so long to get that home, and we forsook, so to speak, our children, or love in the family because we were too busy out earning a living. And how often have we not appreciated the things that are around us, the beauty of the day, because we were so busy worrying about how we were going to make this payment happen or that deal come down? You see, in the West, it's all become very complicated for us. For us, it's a matter of what is important is survival. In the East, what is important is the heart. It is the only thing they look for. In fact, as we drive down the streets, we see men and women with their children. Yes, they're poor. Yes, they're hurting. But there is one thing they have that we don't have that makes us more poor than them. They have heart. They have soul. They have a quality of prayer about them, a sense of sacredness that we don't have about life. We're missing that, not only in our culture, but in ourselves. Spirituality really frightens us. Because to really know what spirituality means is that we have to let go of the things that are important to us. And that frightens us because it says to us, you mean I can't be spiritual and have my Beamer? I can't be spiritual and have a nice home? I can't be spiritual and wear nice clothes? I never said that. That is an assumption. Religion has given you the assumption to have nice things is a sin unless you give a lot of money to the church and then it becomes okay. And if you believe that, then you have bought the bribery. But that's not what spirituality is. Yes, you can have everything that is nice in your life, but those things won't be important to you. They will be added unto you. And there's a vast difference. When you live for what you can get, you will get all the things you want and lose yourself. But when you live for your heart, the thing that is really important, all the things that you think are important will be added unto you, and you have the one quality that is most important, yourself. So we have to ask ourselves, what is spirituality? Is it being perfect? What is perfection, and is it a real thing? There are so many people in this world who love to pretend to be perfect. They act a certain way, they don't say certain things, they don't do certain things. It's so easy to mimic what we would call perfection, but that has nothing at all to do with spirituality. You come to India and you see things that you never see in the West. You see starving people, you see people who live on the streets, you see sick people, you see happy people, you see sad people, you see laughter, you see children, you see life as it is. It's a throng, it's throbbing with a sense of fullness, a sense of anticipation, a sense of life itself, and it is absolutely perfect. As one child is brought into the world, maybe another is leaving. It is perfect. It is not about who looks this way and who looks that way and who says this and who doesn't say that. That's the pettiness of our society. The truth of the matter is that real perfection is the acceptance of all things in life as they are and our ability to flow with them. Now the word perfect drops away. It is not a good word in the vocabulary of someone who is seeking to practice the way within themselves. Now it's not important what is perfect. What is important is what is significant. How do I feel? Because real spirituality is abandoning the mind's logic and abandoning the mind's sensitivity for how the heart feels. And when we move with the heart more than with the head, we find ourselves moving with the acceptance and the flow of life. Now we don't argue with it. We don't resist it. So much of my life has been spent resisting my life, thinking I could make it perfect, and how foolish that was for me. It's more about, as I look at it now, accepting things as they are and finding perfection in what I don't understand. In America. America, yeah. TV man. You. TV woman. TV man.
I know it, Mom. Left hand,
No, one card. There's only one card. Okay, is there one card? One card, show them everybody. Let's see. Go back in. So the key is for Gregory to accept that which he does not understand. That is the key to spirituality. That's where you enter into the door and into the realm of the unknown. See, there are so many things that we don't understand, that we want to understand. Understanding to us is how we take something and logify it or make it fit something that we want to believe. An example would be God. You knew God when you were very little. You knew what God was. You could feel God. But that was taken away from you for a concept about God that church, religion, mother, father, society wanted us to have. We are conditioned about God. Therefore, all we know is what we think or have been taught. The call of the unknown, the call of God, the call of spirituality is to abandon the things that we were taught, the things that we quote unquote know or understand, for that which we cannot find acceptable. That God is about life and death. Not life as the beginning and death as the end, but as life and death as they are one. Now we have come to something quite unique. We've moved into the very dimension of the unknown, and that's where we find the meaning, significance of life. When Gregory is only concerned about those things which he can accept, when he is only accepting those things which he can understand, he misses the value of his own spirituality and the significance of his life. So we have to ask ourselves a question. Do I want to stay the same in my comfortable little beliefs, or do I want to step out into the unknown? And maybe in stepping out into the unknown, inside of myself, I just might find reality. Reality must be lived. Reality is not harsh as we have been taught. Reality is very compassionate. It is very loving. It is funny how we will give up everything that is meaningful in our life just to be safe. So we don't have to change. So we don't have to move. So we don't have to touch something that is absolutely beautiful within us because we are afraid to take that step. In taking that step, though, for those of you who are courageous enough to do so, you won't care about what your world looks like. You will only care about how you feel, because it's in the heart of life that we find the meaning of spirituality. So let me challenge you just for a moment on this. Let me just play a little game with you. Don't take offense at it, just play with this for a moment. Here is the example I would like to give to you. I would like you to tell me how you think about God. If I ask you, what do you think about God? I'm sure you can give me lots of things that you think about your philosophy, about what God is and what God should be and what God does and why God does the things God does. But now let me ask you the second question. What's your feel of God? Not your emotion about God, but your feel. There's a vast difference, and when you start talking to people about how you feel, they don't know how they feel because we have abandoned that long ago for such things as what is important, what the neighbors think of us, what other people think of us, how much we have and where we should be in our life, and what is important in our life is a large bank account, etc., etc., etc. You see, when we lose the feel of our life, we've lost the spirituality of our life. India brought me back to my feelings again. You look into the faces of the people and you see the feel. They're in deep poverty, many of them. The majority of these people are in deep poverty, but you know what's interesting about them? They are happy, they are joyous, they are simple, and they are childlike people. They giggle and they laugh, not from what is said, but from the very soul of them. This is what spirituality is all about. It looks absolutely insane and foolish to the logical mind. But to a person who is really seeking spirituality and is open enough within themselves to go past what is safe, they go to their feelings. No matter what you do in your life, whatever you accomplish, forget about the things that you can get. Go back to the things that you are. Get a sense of the feel for the things that you are, and you will be a very happy person. So before I leave you from India, I want to give you just a little summation in the last 3 minutes that we have together. Please remember, first thing, the greatest temptation in your life is to want to remain the same, not to change. Make changes, but don't make changes on the periphery. You're not going to be a better person because you drive a different car, have a better job, or have more money, or live with a different person, or look a different way. Those things aren't going to make us better. The things that are really important is to find significance in ourselves. Start to get to know who you are. What does it mean about being spiritual? It first means about finding out who you are and keeping company with that person. You may be finding out you're angry. You may be finding out you're cruel. You may be finding out you're saddened. You may be finding out you're hurt. You may be finding a lot of things out about yourself that you didn't know. Find out what they are. Stay with those things. Don't try to change them or improve them. There is no need for any kind of spiritual facelift in this life. Really, life loves us just the way we are. The second thing is, and don't forget this, those things which you don't understand or you cannot find acceptable, those are the things that are important. So don't try to understand God, categorize God or life, or try to come up with theories or reasons why things happen. Karma or dharma, it don't matter. The thing that really does matter is, how willing am I to be and to accept those things which I do not understand, to be those things I don't understand. How do I be things I don't understand? How do I be pain which I don't feel I deserve? How do I be happiness I don't think I deserve either? How do I be with things that throw me off track and make me think that I'm something else other than what I originally thought I was? Let yourself be confused. You know, a part of eternal life is chaos. A part of existence is chaos. If you can live in it and be comfortable in it, allowing it to stir you, change you, move you, and motivate you somehow within yourself, you will find some sort of meaning existing out of your own life. And one last thing before we go, very important. This whole trip is about love. It is not about acquiring, getting, or having. He who at the end is willing to give up everything for love is the one who wins everything. Love is not what I own. Love is not ownership of anything, idea. Love is acceptance. When you're in India, you can't live for anything else but love, because there's nothing else here but love. Love of existence, love of the beauty of this world, and love of its people. If there is one thing that these people have achieved as a community and as a whole, it is acceptance of their life the way it is and love for their life momentarily. And they do live it to the fullest. Those are values of sacredness that we were talking about in this program. It is the call of the unknown in us, the call to sacredness. Because what is sacred is what is valuable. Important things in life are not important at all. Cars, homes, automobiles, objects, things, not important. What is important is how you feel. And that, my dear friend, is what is sacred. Thanks for letting us be with you. Namaste. There's only one reform in life. When you and I stop living from our heads, you and I are here for one very solid reason, and that is to learn to be loving.